Okay, just replaced a wheel cylinder on a 1974 AMC Gremlin. This is a rear axle passenger side. Going over some of the stuff here, you can see the spring retainers for the brake pads as opposed to the type I'm used to on my Mopar stuff, which is a pin and spring. So I don't know if it's any better or worse or not. Of course, the back here, see that attached to it, there's only 2 bolts holding it and the bleeder screw on top. Here we've got the retainer for the self-adjusting spring. That just has a little clip here on the back. You can see that. That just goes in the bottom hole down here, like so. And then you just stretch across the retainer spring here. And of course it actually goes in like so and attaches to that. Again, this is the passenger side. Then your auto adjusting spring that goes up top. Clip on here. Run it around the guide with the spring right in there. And I'll just get back with assembly here in just a second. This bottom spring can be a little challenging, trying to hold the pads in place and then pull that forward. But typically not too bad. I just use a screwdriver, put it up and get into that hole right there and get that portion put in. On the star wheel and stuff, before I ever reassemble, you need to go ahead and probably get in here and, in this case, get these ends off here. Put a little lubrication in there. I would also clean off the threads of the auto adjuster so when they try to self-adjust they don't bind up. Of course, once they're under pressure with the springs, they'll be a little more difficult to move, so you don't notice it typically when it's not under pressure. But as soon as you put it in the car with the pressure of the springs, it's more difficult to adjust, so make sure and lube that up real well. Don't get it so greasy though it ends up affecting the brake pads. Another thing to be aware of too, there is a right side and a left side, so they do have reverse threads on one side. So when you're doing these, try not to mix them up, or if you get replacements, obviously, make sure you get a right and or a left. Okay, kind of getting it together. You can see it attached on here. There's the cable that goes up, goes on the back side of the loop here. Comes across the top. I got the spring retainer. The spring actually goes through the little hole that holds this in place also. And then, like I said, I'm just going to strap it on. Best tool you can get, a brake tool. One end's equipped with a little spring on the back, or a little hole, so to speak, so you can grab the springs. Other end like this, I recommend this with a thinner lip. Grabs the springs a lot easier. You can get cheaper ones. I mean, there's only a few dollars for this tool, but works real well. Okay, trying to do this one-handed, so let's see here. And you just got to take it and use manpower. I'm going to have to use 2 hands here to push this over the top, so I'll show you when we're all done. Now that I got my 2 hands on it, so I could get it over the top of the spring retainer, then all you really have to do is take this and rotate that piece off of there like that, and it drops right on. So the only hard part is essentially taking this and stretching it up over that. And in the end here, you'll see it's a socket that actually fits over the top of this piece here. Great tool for brake replacement, any vehicle. And there we are, both springs on, lower retainer on, just so you can see how it goes on. There's a star wheel for adjustment and push the pads out. These pads didn't need to be replaced yet, so I did not. Other than that, should be ready to go. Be sure and bleed your brakes. Should be plenty of videos online for bleeding. But this is 74 AMC Gremlin. Thanks. Oh yes, and one more thing. Got to make sure to put the nut on, crank it down. This doesn't need to be like a front nut, so it can be cranked on tight because the bearings are deep inside the axle. And there's also a cotter pin that you need to make sure and install after that through the axle shaft here, just to make sure that this locking nut doesn't ever come loose while you're driving, because your whole wheel could potentially come off. So make sure and get a nice good sized cotter pin through there and torque that thing down tight.